Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about this crazy operation that happened in Iran. Trump and the United States call it a rescue operation. However, do you believe them? I think it's a bunch of lies, guys. I think it's all a big, massive lie. And here's the truth, and I'm going to expose it all for you. So let's start from the beginning. There was a F-15E plane that was flying over Iran and it got shot down and the plane crashed and United States said that they rescued one pilot, but the F-15E carries two. One is a pilot and the other person in there basically is in charge of weapons and intelligence and navigation and all these other everything else basically. So the pilot was found, and the other officer was basically lost. And they tried to find him, but failed badly. I believe they sent an A-10, which got shot down. They sent some drones, which got shot down. They sent a helicopter, which got shot down. However, one helicopter did manage to catch the pilot and bring him home. But obviously, the other guy was still in Iran, hiding somewhere. So the next day, basically, they went in, and according to the United States media, they went in, they did this massive Rambo style operation, and they managed to get him and, basically save him. But while they did that, they lost two massive transport planes, C-130. They lost two Apache planes. They lost a couple of drones and another A-10 as well, and a number of small helicopters as well. They call them some more small mini helicopters. So they lost a lot, guys. They lost a lot of airplanes basically in this rescue operation. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made some sort of Hollywood movie out of this, maybe Top Gun 3 or something, or maybe even another Rambo style film where the pilot gets dropped in Iranian territory and he becomes like Rambo. He takes out all of these IRGC with his bare hands. He lays traps. He kills them all. Then he goes into an underground bunker and finds all the hidden uranium. He steals it. He blows up the facility, the secret facility, and then he escapes with his life and he becomes a hero. And I wouldn't be surprised if that film comes out in Hollywood by next year. It might come out on Netflix, who knows? You might see Sylvester Stallone or maybe even Tom Cruise as the main lead, but we'll see. The point is, guys, it's all a lie. It's all a massive lie. So let's talk about how much this operation actually cost, first of all. You can see from the screenshot I've sent you the cost of these massive airplanes, the C-130. These are massive airplanes and they cost a lot of money. And the cost of them alone is between 150 to 200 million. Then you got these little small helicopters, around 7.5 million each. The MQ-9 Reapers, the A-10s. I believe there was two A-10s shot down, by the way, not one as it says here, because one got shot down the day before, and basically one got shot, and the other one had an emergency landing, but they're both damaged, basically. And obviously the F-15 as well. So altogether, it says here 386 million in aircraft alone. But this does not count inflation, by the way. If they have to build the same kind of aircraft with today's prices, you can easily double that. Then obviously you got to count the cost of the operation because you need a lot of people to plan this. There was probably thousands of people planning this operation. There was obviously, cost of transport going into Iran and back, the cost of salaries you have to pay, the cost of basically the cost of the operation, the hidden costs, and everything that comes with it. So it's well over a billion, guys. Well over a billion just to save one guy. So let me tell you something. Do you really think the United States will save one soldier and spend $1 billion to save him? Imagine if 100 soldiers they have to rescue, or if this war goes on for 2 years, say, and every time a airplane gets shot down, are they going to spend another billion to get him out again? I don't think so, because if they do, then they're going to become broke very quickly. I can guarantee you that. Secondly, you expect me to believe there's so many soldiers in America, homeless, they got PTSD, they are really suffering in America, and they don't get any benefits. They're literally homeless in the streets, and the government has completely betrayed them. Most of them are drug addicts and things like that. They don't care about these, combat veterans and soldiers that served them in the Iraq War. They don't care about any of them. They only care about money. So you really think that they're going to spend $1 billion just to save one American soldier? Because according to the United States, American soldiers are expendable, guys. That's what soldiers are for. Soldiers are basically expendable slaves. You just use them, abuse them, send them into battle. If they die, you pay basically their family some money and life insurance and things like that, and that's it. Basically soldiers are there to serve. They're not there to for you to spend a billion to save them here and there. If you can save them, yeah, that's fine, but not at the expense of costing $1 billion. So I don't think America or Trump cares about that. So my point is, I don't think this operation was there to save one soldier. I think this operation was completely different. It was a smokescreen. So the evidence is here, guys. The evidence shows. So the evidence basically shows the crash shot. You can see from this map on the bottom left here. So the crash site where the plane crashed, the F-15, is in blue, but where these planes are, where they got destroyed, the C-130 and all these other planes that got destroyed, that's in the red, and that's near Isfahan. And as we know about Isfahan, there is a nuclear facility in there, and we also know that some uranium is also held there as well. So what I think has happened is I think this is a complete ground operation that went wrong. I think these transport airplanes, if these are transport airplanes, by the way, guys. I mean, look, think about it. Think about it, guys. Why would they send two transport aircraft, C-130, to save one soldier? Why would they do that? All they have to do is do some sort of stealth mission, send in a small helicopter or something, something that doesn't is not going to cause too much, how would you say, attention. Try and do it in a stealthy way. Why would they need these two massive aircrafts, plus, all these Apache aircrafts and things like that? Why would they need that for one soldier? It doesn't make any sense, because I'll tell you why. Because they didn't go there to save the soldier. They went in there to basically do some sort of mission in the nuclear facility and steal the uranium and come out. Similar to what Trump did with the Maduro in Venezuela. They basically stole the president, kidnapped him, and then Trump declared victory the day after. It's exactly the same thing. They tried to go into the Natanz facility in Isfahan and steal the uranium and come out. And Trump would have declared victory tomorrow. He would have been like, yeah, yeah. look, we've got all the uranium. We declare victory. Yeah, that's what Trump wanted to do, and this is why he sent these two massive transport aircraft because they wanted to transport the uranium in those aircraft, and also these aircrafts can fit a lot of special units as well, special forces. I think a lot of these special forces have died as well because you can just look at the wreckage. They're absolutely blown, destroyed. And I think a lot of them have died. I think um, some Iranians have claimed that they found some skulls as well in the wreckage. Obviously, I'm not sure if that's 100%, but that's what they claim. Could be true. Could I think what they need to do is maybe do some film, close-up film of the wreckage, and if they find any skeletons and like proof that there's human bodies there, then they should do it. I think they should do some close-up visions. But I think we saw a picture somewhere. But pictures, as you know, can be manipulated with AI and stuff like that. So I don't trust pictures. I think what we need is verified information. But I mean, what I'm saying here, obviously, it's not verified. There's no proof for it. I'm just telling you, you just have to use your common sense and think why they're doing this. And sometimes two and two, you have to put it together, and you got to think why they're doing it this way, why they're saying this, why they're saying that, and you got to make your own judgment, basically, using your own common sense, and that's what we're doing right now. So I think these C-130 planes were there to transport the uranium, and I think this was a ground operation gone wrong. I think. uh, I think the Americans killed their own, kind of killed their own by blowing up these aircrafts because they didn't want any proof. They didn't want this story to go out in the press. So I think they also didn't want any of them to get captured as well, because it would have been a disaster for Trump if some of these soldiers got captured and they got paraded around in Iran. It would have been an absolute embarrassment. So I think the Americans killed a lot of their own soldiers. And also, these were special forces. These were like they're not your regular army, they are special forces. And I know for a fact that if special forces get captured or killed, they do not announce it. They're not like normal army guys or Marines or Navy, Air Force. If you're a special force and you get killed in battle, you don't have to, nobody has to announce anything. The American government can deny your existence. They can deny, they will basically your spies, your special forces and your spies. So if you die, that's it. They don't have to announce it on the press. They don't have to say, yeah, this guy works for us or anything like that. So I think a lot of these special forces have died, and I think they cannot announce it basically because when a special forces dies, you don't have to announce it. So I think they have killed their own, and I think the reason they killed their own because Israel does exactly the same thing. Israel kills their own soldiers to avoid them being captured. I think it's called the Hannibal Directive or something. But that's what Israelis have been doing for years. Because if an Israeli soldier gets captured, normally they have to release hundreds of Palestinian, prisoners because of it and things like that, and they don't want to do that. So I think you can see the American army and takes is taking a lot of lessons from the Israeli army because they're working together. And I think the Israelis probably told Americans, blow up these ships, kill your own men, make sure they don't get captured, make sure there's no evidence, make sure these planes don't go into Iranian hands. And I think they killed a lot of their own. So let me tell you something, guys. So this guy, this pilot that they rescued, where is he? Where is he? If they rescued a pilot, don't you think that they would go overtime to basically put him in front of the camera, put him, make him into a hero, basically put his story out there as soon as possible? It's been a whole day now, and we've not heard anything from the press. We've not heard anything about his whereabouts, whether he's still alive, where is he? I think that they're putting something together. They might release something which is AI or something like that. I think that's why there's such a big delay. And so the whole story is just a big cover up, guys. A massive, massive cover up. Absolutely, 100% is a cover up. And you can see the damage done as well. And I think these planes were either taken down by the IRGC and the Americans decided to blow him up. They didn't want to rescue the people in there, and they didn't. They wanted this mission to be top secret. So I think what they did, they decided to blow these ships up from a distance. I think that's what they did, and I think the IRGC also took them down as well. I think you know basically they've landed in the middle of the desert, guys. I mean, which transport plane lands in the middle of a desert? Hardly any. And there's no runway in here or anything like that. I think they were shot down, and these planes had to land as an emergency or something like that. And they couldn't take off after that because you're in the middle of a desert. You're not in a runway, basically, and you cannot take off unless there is a good runway and something like that. So they were stuck basically. And rather than rescue the people, rescue the pilots and the special forces, I think they killed all of them. I think they basically destroyed them completely, and you can see the damage. Completely destroyed them. So yeah, never believe the U.S. government, whatever they come up with. And you can see Trump basically, he was really angry this morning, very angry, guys. He sent a tweet out saying, threatening Iran again, saying he's going to blow up everything if they don't open the Hormuz Strait. And he was using the F bombs as well. He was throwing the F bombs around. He was saying, if you don't effing open the Hormuz Strait, I'm going to blow everything up. And then at the end, he says, praise to Allah, he says at the end. So I didn't know that, first of all, I didn't know that Trump became Muslim, first of all. Secondly, why would he send an angry email like that? If you've rescued a pilot, if this mission was such a success and you've rescued the pilot, why are you so angry? Why are you sending angry tweets? It doesn't make sense, right? Because, if they say what they said, on the tweet where Trump said, oh, we basically saved his life, we saved the pilot, the American military is the best in the world. It should be good news everywhere. It should be all over the, papers, should be all over the news, Fox News everywhere. They would use it as propaganda, as PR. And the reason they are not doing it because they know something about the story doesn't make any sense. With all the damage and everything, all the evidence, it just shows that it really was not a success that Trump thinks it is. If it was a success, Trump would have been in a very good mood. He would not be sending out these angry emails threatening Iran. He's going to blow everything up, cause all these war crimes and stuff like that. So all the evidence is there, guys. You can tell this whole story is it's just PR. It's just made up. It's not real. I think the real story is that they tried to do a ground operation. They tried to steal the uranium, and it completely failed. And you know, rather than give up and come back, I think they destroyed all the evidence and they killed all the people to make sure that nobody speaks about it. They keep it a secret. If they kill all the people, nobody can, tell the truth because it's all buried. I think that's what they've done. So if there's any other stories, no, that's it, guys. I mean, let me know what you guys think. I mean, look at this plane. I mean, look how big it is. Massive. There is no way you're going to send two of these to save one guy. Come on. Think about it, guys. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So that's all for now, guys. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.